Yeah.
Talk to the YouTube camera, you'll need to be fairly near the painting to be in focus.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's all up. Right, just check brushes. Could you at some point fill that out with water? Cheers, mate. We'll get Marina to it. Okay. Then thank you. This is tricky as this one. Fucking hell. Why have I done that? Why have I chosen this one? It's about there. Alright. Thank you. Right. All good? Video. Live. Just to make life more complicated. Hi folks, hope you're well. Good afternoon. It's 2:05 UK time, and we're going to paint New York, and we're going to have a bit of fun with this one. The reason I'm painting New York a lot at the moment is because I've got an exhibition hopefully there next year, so I'm working out the paintings that I need to be doing for the show, and I'm doing these smaller versions to start with, just to for me to basically work from, and to work out the colouring and whether the painting's going to work, things like that. So when I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, I was wandering around the streets, as you do, and it became so clear of the interest behind the exhibition, and that's going to be all about the light, basically, and how the light bounces off the buildings within the city. I found it really interesting and fascinating, and that's why I'm going to be painting this one. It's kind of going to be a working sketch for me to create something a lot larger. I'll probably do a 7-foot by 5-foot painting if this one works out. So this is a test piece for a large piece, and we'll see how we go. I'm going to do it very with speed, if you like, and dynamically, and hope you enjoy and pick up a few tips maybe. This is going to be painted in acrylics, and as you can see, I've already primed the canvas. This is just I'll just show you the back. So it's a really nice canvas, and these are adjustable, so whatever the temperature you can adjust them, and keeps the canvas nice and tight there. we've got Van Dyke brown, we've got, in no particular order, I should maybe go through the lighter tones first, but cad yellow light, cad yellow medium, we've got white. This medium here just makes the drying slightly slower using that, and I'll just show you, so there you go, slow drying medium, all right. We've got, then we've got Van Dyke's brown, we've got bronze, silver, gold, cerulean blue, black, Prussian blue, red, medium, and magenta. So that's the palette. And let's see how we go. My first job, as always, is to sketch out the composition. And like I've said, this is acrylic paint because I want it to be dry pretty quick. We'll have the vanishing point around there. And then, so using the rule of thirds, so we have a third here and then 2/3 up from the bottom and then 2/3. So the compositionally is going to work out quite nicely, and that will be, all of my lines are going to head towards that vanishing point. Okay, and we'll stick in the Chrysler as a point of reference. But talking about light, what I want to do with this piece is tone everything down so that when I put the light on the buildings, it stands out, okay? So I'm going to increase the I'm going to make everything darker than it is in reality so that the light is more obvious. And that's the point of this painting, is the light. So we'll have the buildings. I don't know what the building is next to the Chrysler. I should find that one out. So that's going to be the Chrysler building there, which is my favourite building in New York. And that's going to be in light, really strong light there. And then we have, again, rule of heading to the vanishing point. There's the vanishing point. All my marks are heading towards that point. And then so very quickly I'm getting the composition drawn out. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining, everybody. It's great to see so many of you finding this interesting. And so during this this video, I'll talk about different techniques and the medium. Like I said before, if I want to exaggerate the light, I need to make the rest of the painting quite dark, okay? And then bring out the colour and the light. So what I'm going to do is block out. I've kind of finished the sketch. I mean, it was so quick. What I'm going to do is block out the colours now using a bigger brush. And I'm using a mixture of Prussian blue, which is quite an intense blue, and it's, rather than using black, it's very easy to make a dark colour using Prussian blue, for instance, and red. You can see I mixed it there. So I'm just putting in a bit of darkness down here. The sun, the position of the sun within this painting is behind me, okay? So this, the Chrysler is in the sun, okay? But the sun is behind. So everything that's facing the sun in this direction is going to be illuminated. I like to paint the side of my canvases. These are deep edge canvases. And let's just get that paint down. Not interested at all about details at the moment. So this is the shadow from a building that is behind. So there's lots of different elements going on here. Working as fast as I can just to get this initial blocking done, and it will give you a really good idea of the exact composition and how I'm going about creating that interesting light. While I was in New York, I obviously painted on location as well, and a lot of the paintings that will be in the show are going to be from my recent trip, and so it's going to be pretty cool, I think. So I'm sticking to the darks. I'm just adding a little bit of black. The darker I make the edges, the more of the illusion of distance. So dark edge, lighter in the centre. Your eye will be drawn to the centre of the canvas. Just so you know, you can check out my paintings on paulkenton.com. I'm also published with Castle Fine Art, and you can check out the paintings that they have on their website. And obviously I have a Instagram, because you would be watching, and TikTok, and I've also got a YouTube channel which you can also check out, which is Paul Kenton Art. So lots going on, little plugs there for maybe subscribe or follow. I'm doing this kind of thing a lot, and it's all good fun. Okay. So I'm getting a really good idea of how this painting's going to look. You might be thinking, this is really dark, what I'm putting in here. Well, again, that is the point, so that when I put the light in, it makes the light stand out even more than it would naturally. So it's all good. What have we got here? Have we got any questions? I'm painting with acrylic on canvas. Paint's going on really nicely. Sometimes the paint can fight you, but so far so good. When I'm painting, I actually think about the structure of the building, whether the brush marks should be going along to the vanishing point, or do they want to be going up and down, vertical. There's lots of different things to think about. That's my initial wash, and I'm really happy with that. So now I can put in okay, I'm not too fussed about making this perfect actually, this colour. I'm going a lot darker than it was in reality. Again, if I make it darker, then I've got more potential to put the light in. And there we go, nice. I primed the canvas and then put a colour tone, a warm colour tone down. I'm not trying to go around the Chrysler building. I'm not fussed about the details. I've painted over it. This is just the first wash of colour. If I wanted to spend time blending this sky, then I would add some of the gel, which makes it dry slower, and then it would allow me to blend the colour, but I'm not too worried. And this edge, or do I have a soft edge? So the choice is mine. I can just literally drag my brush into the existing paint and it creates a soft edge. There we go. And I think that's more relative to this painting than a hard edge. Acrylics always dry slightly darker actually than when you first apply the paint. So that's also something to think about. So I'm now dragging and blending. So my brush mark's going up and down. And that's going to create a really nice vibe coming from this distant blue. That's quite a strong, so you can see how this light is going to work. And the most exciting thing about this painting is I've got this school bus that I'm going to put in here, and the front of the school bus is going to be lit up. And that's the whole point of this painting, is just that. And that's kind of the point of these paintings. There's got to be something which is of interest. I'm not after just a pretty picture. I want something for your eye to be drawn to. So I'm just blending that in. And that looks cool. You see how you've got a transition between the dark and the light here, because this is further away in the distance. If I put this similar sort of glow along this top edge here, and then blend you can see how that light now radiates. Have you ever considered painting redwood forest? I do landscapes. I paint quite a lot of woodland scenes. I do a lot of sunsets and beach scenes as well. Go and check out my paintings on paulkenton.com and you'll see that. Right, so really happy with that tone. Now what I'm going to do is, while this paint is still wet here, I'm just going to grab some gold and warm copper, and that's the reflection from these buildings here, which are going to be in light. Okay, so I'm thinking about how the light is bouncing from one building to the next. Here as well. So these are glass-fronted buildings, and the light is bouncing from over here to the buildings across the street. So it's quite an interesting concept going on. There's a lot. So now I've made a few marks. I'm just going to get my straight edge. And I'm just going to move this paint around. The great thing about acrylics is you can paint over the acrylic. It dries ever so quickly. So you can let it dry, then come back to it, or start again. It's up to you. So these marks are heading to the vanishing point. And I'm just putting it in wet. And it allows me to move the paint around. If this was dry, then I wouldn't be able to do this, and it would create quite hard edges, which I don't want. You can see that already, it's coming to life. While the paint is still wet, I can move it around. These marks are heading to the vanishing point. nice. It's got a really nice feel to this painting already. I'm really enjoying painting it. Love this. This is pretty cool, actually. What I'm going to do is put in these distant buildings just with the straight edge. Got some nice colours going on there. I'm using my metallic paint for this. And these buildings are in light, so they're lit up from the sun, which is behind. Just keeping this straight, my tool straight, and then we have a bit of shadow here. Oof, that was brave. And then I need to put the Chrysler in. So the side of the Chrysler is in shadow. So let's see if I can do this. That's the shadow. And then it goes up from there. If I go quiet, that's because I'm focused on trying to get this right. Okay, and then this is the tricky bit. If I can get this right, then it's all plain sailing from here. Right, here we go. Wish me luck. It's got these curves. And this is all in light. That's pretty good, getting there. Just bear with me, and then we'll paint some, we'll make some more exciting paint. I'm waffling on here. I want to create that texture of curve. So I'm sculpting the paint. Whew, that's a relief. Okay, so that's the tricky bit done. Everything else should be plain sailing. I'm really and I'm going to put in a few windows. Sorry about that. And then, so that's worked out a treat actually. It's always quite tricky to paint that freehand, and I'm happy with the way that's turned out. So let's put in the rest of these buildings. Then this next building here is in shadow. Goes right the way down to about there. The vanishing point is here. I've just added a little bit of magenta there, just to make that interesting. And then we'll put in this building here. Make sure it heads towards the vanishing point. Okay, a little bit of brown and copper. So I've just stole a little bit of the sky colour and dragged that down. That will just make that edge slightly less obvious than if it's just a really crisp line. Let's make sure. And then what we're going to do is put a few windows in here. These are in shadow. Okay, and then this building up here on the right, because it's not part of the compositional interest, this needs to stay dark, but I am just going to just give it just a bit of interest by putting a few very faint marks, so that when you look at it, you can see there's information there, but it's not. All those marks are heading towards the vanishing point. So this is painted in acrylics. Thanks for joining, everybody. Much appreciated. I'm painting on a stretched canvas over wooden bars, and So now I need to work on this side of the buildings, and a lot of these buildings are in light, okay? So this is all in shadow. Up here, the buildings are going to be in light, okay? So we'll have a difference. That's the road coming out. There's the curb around there. That will run to here. So this is the curb, okay? And then we'll have a school bus positioned here, and I'll put that one in shortly. And I'm going to save the light on the school bus to the last, because that's the focal point of this painting and the really interesting bit for me to paint. A little bit more information here. To the distant buildings. This is just so your eye disappears down that street. So tonally, it's, if you can imagine the sky being tone 1 as a light colour, then these buildings will be 3, and then the dark on the edges will be like a 9. So it's a distance through tone, and also distance through marks. So if I make small marks in the distance, they're further away than if I make really big marks like here in the foreground, then they're closer to you. So it's these factors which will help the composition of a painting. Okay, so I'm now going to put in the light buildings here. So to start off with, I need to put some more red on the palette. Okay, so we've got cad yellow, medium, and we've got a little bit of red. And I'm going to add some gold to the mix. And these are all in the light, so it's a nice light tone. See these drips that are coming down the canvas? Well, that's part of the piece. I actually really like when that happens, and I use it within the painting. It's kind of like a happy accident. And I'm going to put plenty of paint down so that when I use the straight edge, sculpting the information, but you can see how, because I made the sky colour darker, when I put the light in, it stands out more. So let's go for this. I could use a brush for this, but prefer to use a straight edge. And then I need to, again, I don't want to make it too sharp, that line, but because the sky colour is now dry, I have no choice. I can't blend with the dry paint, but it doesn't matter, that's fine. And while I've got that colour on my straight edge, I'm just going to put a few highlights on this building. And that just works a treat. It's really standing out now. Thanks for watching, folks. Much appreciated. Right, let's get in a bit more information here. This is actually, this building here is going off at this angle. It's not heading to the vanishing. And then I'll put in, actually, some windows. Start at the top. Nice. And that is the face of the building. So that was a little bit tricky. And then we'll put in some more windows. That looks fine. And then the top half of this building is in light and the rest of it is in shadow down here. I can move in a little bit there. So I'm just gonna and then create a nice edge heading to the vanishing point. Okay, and then I'm just going to tidy up this mark. So if you want to check out my paintings, it's paulkenton.com. and Paul Kenton Art, where I've got lots of these demos. And also I'm published with Castle Fine Art, and so there's lots of paintings in galleries throughout the UK. Little plug there. And then let's get this light in, just adding a bit of warmth with magenta to the mix, because it's right in the sunlight there. Okay, so that's really strong. What I need to do now is put in the rest of this building, which is in shadow. So I'm going to mix up Prussian blue, magenta, and it should give me the right tone for the rest of this building. It's funny that this painting it's really going with me. It wants to be painted. So many times when you apply the paint to a canvas and it's just a struggle, everything's working against you, but I'm so happy that this one is working out. I'm kind of not thinking too much about that. You have to go with it and enjoy this moment, and I am. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining. There's a lot that can go wrong. So let's see what happens. Now I've said that, it's probably going to go wrong, but we'll see. There are some shadow marks along So when I was in New York, I'd be up at 5 a.m. and I would paint. Actually, it was still dark at 5, but I would find the perfect spot and then paint as the sun rises. And got some cracking material. And this is the view, one of the views that grabbed me, and that was the morning light on these buildings. So the sun was rising from the east of Manhattan, and then had a mixed bag of weather, which was absolutely perfect. So obviously, my stuff is when it's raining, and I do a lot of reflection paintings. But most of the time while I was there, it was sunny. Okay, so that's all good there. I can just darken up this area here. The darker I make the edges, the more your eye will be drawn into the light. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just use this colour here, and this is my shadow tone. It's just a mixture of Prussian blue and red. And then we'll do the same there. So I'm really mixing up my marks where I'm using brush and the straight edge in combination together. And if I did one or the other, it would kind of be a little bit dull. So I like to mix it up. And then we'll have somebody standing there. Again, this is a shadow colour. And the good bit is coming. Or the bus here, and it's going to really stand out. Obviously, I haven't tackled this colour. This colour here, I'm going to change slightly. I'm going to lighten it up. I'm finding it a little bit of a strange colour. Edges a second. It's good to just take pause and have a look at what I've been up to. Thanks for watching. If there's any questions, fire away. This is an acrylic painting on stretched canvas. I'm using a medium which slows the drying time down. If I mix yellow and red, we get this lovely orange colour, and it will really stand out in this painting. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of that in a distant building. You can see it being mixed now. And if I put a bit of that here, your eye is just drawn immediate to that spot. Put a little bit more light into that distant building, and then I'll take my straight edge and I'm going to put in the light blobs of colour, a lighter tone. Just tidy up these marks, and then I'm going to put in before I do that, while I've got this paint on my brush, I'm just going to lighten up the road. So this is going to make a big difference. So this is the bit that's not in shadow. I want to put this in before I put the bus